Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very special edition of Coffee with Jim and James as we continue our journey looking at the 7 habits. Today, we're going to be looking at habit number 2, which is begin with the end in mind. And at this point, I'm going to bring James in because James has been my mentor on my 7 habits journey. And I learned so much from him. So at this point, James, please come in and help me on my journey.
That's a lot of pressure, Jimmy.
I tell you what, it
A
is.
mentor. I've been called a lot worse. Hey, beginning with the end in mind, right? That's the one. Habit
Yep.
2, private victory. We're still in that private victory, if you remember. From the last time we talked, being proactive and beginning with the end in mind really is about, changing some of the habits that you have internally, some of the, kind of internal work that you have to do before you take these habits to the rest of the world, right? So kind of getting your own house in order, if you will. That's what the private victory is. I always tell people it's kind of getting okay, my mind's right, my life's right. I'm ready to go after this challenge, because if you don't make those first 2 steps, those first 2 habits a priority, you can't take it outside of yourself, right? When you start bringing other people in, it gets messy, right? They have bad habits, you have bad habits. So that private victory, again, is that internal. Okay, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to get my mind right, and I'm going to go. So beginning with the end in mind, number 2 is just like it sounds, right? Covey's so great at just breaking it down to the lowest level, right? And we're like, oh yeah, of course. But Jimmy, we were talking about it, just kind of brainstorming earlier, and begin with the end in mind is really kind of Covey calls it, there's two there's what is it, Jimmy? What's that called? The first creation and second creation.
Okay.
And what Covey's saying is that the first creation is always mental, right? It's the idea. And then the second creation is actually going to work. And so beginning with the end in mind is really that first idea, right? And where you're going to take it, that blueprint of that house. You dreamed your whole life to build that house here, and we're going to put it in a blueprint so someone can follow it, right? And so that's really at the core what beginning with the end in mind, stands for.
So it's really taking your thoughts, prioritizing them. I mean, we have lots of thoughts, lots of dreams, aspirations, and such like that. Well, let's make it real. Coffee with Jim and James a year ago. I are sitting on the phone at the corner of COVID, and we don't know what's going to go on. And you had this crazy on the back of a napkin, and you're like mentally like, I can see this thing, see it. And I saw the vision, we talked, we collaborated, and look where we are today.
Sure. Yeah. And Jimmy, if you go back to that and that original conversation, and we said it over and over on this show, right? People that have been on and probably are tired of hearing it, but we really built it to connect back with our industry, right? And really to fellowship and bring that part back. Now, are we at the same spot we were when we started? Of course not, right? I mean, we didn't know we would be sitting here, that I'd have that hanging on the wall there. We didn't even know if it would work, right?
Yeah.
But we had, a concept and a path and a plan of what true north looked like, right? So we're able to look at it and go, all right, well, what are we really wanting to do? What is our end game of this thing? Because it's easy, especially in the middle of the pandemic, Jimmy, when you're like, oh man, I want to replace trade shows. That was what our thought was. Like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to sell stuff without going to shows? That was what your heart says immediately, right? That's you're feeling it. But then when you start processing it, it's like, is that really what we're doing? Though, what are we trying to really accomplish here? And when we stripped it all back, Jimmy, you were like, I just want to connect with people like we do at shows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so that right there was that first creation. Right? And we said, okay, that's our true north. Right. So it's easy to look at it from this perspective. It's a super micro example, right? We're talking about projects, we're talking about companies, right? We're talking about families and friendships and all those things. That this is one of those little small micro examples, but it's so easy because a lot of people have maybe seen this grow. And Jim, that brings up I think a good point that is a common misconception with beginning with the end in mind. And that's that all of us are sitting here with some kind of crystal ball, right? Dreaming up
Right.
these plans. Like we're not saying we have all the answers. We're not saying that we're not going to change path and change directions and take data in as we go. We're just saying we have a concept of where we want to head. And we're not just hacking away, going in one direction and go, hey, that's the wrong way. You know, like Covey says, we're supposed to be going this way.
Yeah.
That is what we're trying to avoid. And by having that true north, we're able to do that. Now, our industry knows continuous improvement, right? Jim, what do we sell? You know, what does Steve Allen and Kelsey Klingler do? Right? That's out there what they're talking about. So we're not going to tell you, you know, build a plan, work the plan, and stick to the plan. Continuous improvement's still part of it. You're seeing it today, right, Jim? What did we say we were going to do this year with Coffee with Jim and James?
Well, we said so much of it.
I know. But that's what I mean. That's the continuous improvement. Is we said we were going to lean in, right? We didn't know what that meant, right? That was our north for this year. Was okay. Now we realize we can do it. We're not scared anymore. Now let's lean in. That's true north for us this year. Does that mean we know what that even means? No. It means that background you have and that logo on it, right? For some people, it's for me. It's this new space that I love that I'm in right here because honestly, what I was doing was not sustainable. I wasn't happy with my setup, and I had to take data in as we went and said, you know what, we can make a better experience for people. And now we know it's worth it. And so without that kind of beginning with the end in mind, the end can be this year. It doesn't have to be the end game of all end games, right? And for us, I think we've done a really good job of kind of, you know, being pliable and flexible, getting out of your comfort zone. Holy cow, have we done that this year?
We should. Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt. Let me hit though on this a second, because you just hit on a very good point.
Was that a tangent or what, Jimbo?
Oh man, you were on a roll, brother. I'm telling you what.
It just came from my soul.
And that's where it should come from. And this is where this question's coming from, is that you know, with the end in mind. So we're not necessarily talking about that house being built, because we're talking about the journey to get to the house being built and knowing that along the way things can change. We wanted a 3-car garage, now we want a 2-car.
Well, I'll challenge you even further, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Why are you building that house?
Because I want to, and I want to live in it. And it's
lies. That's all lies. You want to build a home, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be north. The logistics may change. You may be building, you know, a 3-car garage instead of a 2. You may be landscaping, you may not. But the north is, I want to build somewhere I feel safe, I feel comfortable, my family, you know, is with me. You know, we're building a home, right? So, you know, again, the mental, I don't mean to get all right. I mean, melt your brain, explode it. But what I mean is Covey teaches us too, and I think, unlike any other book, I call it going up a level, right? We have conversations and you think you're there, right? But you're really, what is it called? Principle centered. Remember, we talked about that a little bit in the pre-show. I said, principle centered. That's a good example. It gets confusing, right? Some people are family centered, church centered, enemy centered of all things, right? You would go, why would somebody be enemy centered? There it is, right? That graphic right there. That when you stray away from principles as you're building that plan, right? When you start adding in different variables, other people, other things, it gets messy, right? So what you're saying is correct. That's why we shift and change course sometimes as we go. But at the end of the day, if I said, Jimmy, what are you building? You would say, I'm building a home. And I would go, amen. That home for you need to have 3-car garage because, you know, you're lavish and you live in Florida. But for me, if I say I'm building a home, that may mean I want a chicken coop in the back, you know?
Yeah.
But that doesn't change our north, right? And so, like I said, I think Covey does it best. He brings you up a level, because if you find you're like, oh, you know, my contractor and blah, 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 right? Oh man, my subcontractor came out, didn't show up, or it's raining or whatever. Those are things going on, right? When you mix in, when we get out of the private victory and we go public, right? We've been through some of them. You start to realize how messy it is when you get other people involved because they have bad habits too. And you may be more founded and centered on those habits yourself because you've read a book, Jimmy. You read the book. You read the manual for it. They haven't. And I will tell you the percentage to people that have and haven't is astronomical, not in your favor.
Right.
I mean, we
Right.
learn it every day, but those that have been through it, you are blessed when you find somebody who understands these concepts. And that's why it's so important for us to have it as an internal language, is because of that reason right there. Is it helps us get to where we need to be faster. All of the principles combined. And if somebody knows 1, 2, 3, 4, or just 1 and 2, it's still proactive enough to get us there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And we're going to work with people that don't have that as a skill yet. But our goal is to hope that they see how valuable it is, right? And what's our plan, Jimmy, this year? We're going to give it all away, right? We're giving it all away. Come get it. You want to know how we do good business? We base our decisions on principles.
You always blow my mind when we have this discussion. And for the audience out there, whether we're recording this or not,
we
always
said that earlier, Jimmy. We said, man, we should have recorded this pre-show. I don't know why we weren't, but no, I'm really passionate about it, Jim. I love every time I pick up this book, and I keep it right that close by, because I've said it before, but every single time I find the weight of the world on my shoulders. And Jimmy, that's the world. That is the last thing any of us need right now, right? More of the weight of the world on our shoulders. But when you begin to feel it, I'll pick up that book. Just like we pick up the Bible, we pick up whatever your go-to is. But from a business standpoint, when I feel like I don't have traction and I need a little bit, I go back to that and I swear I find it in a heartbeat. Because I'm probably not living a principle-based life. And we got to find that. We got to come back center. So you want to begin with the end in mind? Try to follow these principles, right? Try to adopt to these habits. Let that be it. You're not perfect. You're not going to get them all. You're not going to get them all this year. You're not going to get them all next year, probably. But, make a commitment. You did. Jimmy, you are post 7 habits, and I know you'll go through it again because you see the value in it. But how has it changed you since we went through it at the end of last year? Now we're rolling into a new year. Now we're a month in, right? 30 X amount of days in.
Yep.
How has it changed 2021 and how you started, or your life in general?
It personal and professional. It's helped.
Absolutely. And for those that don't know it, not to cut you off, Jimmy, but I am.
Oh.
Those that don't know it, this book will help you in your personal life probably more than business. These are highly effective people, not workers, not management, not, bean counters, nothing. It's people. So your child, your dad, your mom, your uncle, all of them fall into this category.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, it has helped me more, I would say, personally than professionally at a certain level. But by helping me personally, it actually helps me professionally because I'm a better person. And I start to think about things a little bit differently. And if I just spend 2 minutes thinking about what's the end result, what do I want to get out of this? What's the objective? And then I backfeed into that, it helps me to say, that's a really good idea. Or, you know what? Let me revisit that, and that really has helped. It really has.
We're pretty agile as a company and pretty progressive, I think, in some areas too. So we probably do it a little bit better. And it's kind of built into our model and our culture a little bit more. But go to Walmart, go anywhere. I promise you'll bump into 700 people that it's not important to. And So, yeah, and you're going to spend a lot more time with all of these randoms out here in the world than you are with these core people in the business that get you. So you having that belief, like what you said, it changed me and made me a better person. I'm more conscious of it. You need that because a bunch of people don't have it, and they're never going to have it. It's not an interest for them. It's not a drive. They don't even know it exists, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so part of it is just dealing with the world around you. You got to have a certain skill set to function, you know, as an adult. But then there's another level of function as a happy adult.
Yep. And
And
then
that's different, right?
an effectively happy adult, huh?
No doubt about it. I mean, because I think effectiveness makes you happy, just like what you said, it makes you a better person because you're conscious of it and you see it in other
Yeah.
people. So, in other words, you're not blinded. You get into an altercation with someone, or you bump heads somewhere along the line, you know, family, it doesn't matter what it is. You're in the moment and it's like boom, boom, boom. You know, like before you didn't have those skills. Now you step back and you can almost see which principle is so off base in their life.
Yeah.
And not that you are judging them. I'm just saying that it gives you a peace of mind to go, whoa, I need to stop a minute. Emotional intelligence, right? Stop a minute. They don't have those skills that I do. And it's not a bad thing. It's just reality. Step
Right.
back and go, okay, you know, what's my center? What's the end goal, right?
Yep. And I think that for me, still, you know, it's almost like you mentioned the pipeline safety management, you know, journey where you never end. It's always growing.
Right.
And I think the exciting part about this is that even if you pick out one or two and you're using them, they really do compound on each other.
It makes you excited, right? It's momentum, just like always, right? You
Yeah.
you get a couple on your belt and you're like, oh man, this is actually changing my workflow. And then you get excited and I mean, it's always, it can work either way, sadly though, right? You have to be very conscious of momentum and because especially Jimmy, as we know in times like this that we didn't know before, but now we know a year into it and probably another year until we're out of it. Um, it's different.
Yeah. James, help us close this out. If you were to give 1, 2, 3 recommendations, thoughts, tips or tricks, whatever you want to call it, for the second habit, you know, what, you know, somebody walks up to you at Walmart and asks you a question. What are 3 things I could do? What would be your recommendation?
There's no get rich quick scheme, you know. There's just no way to do it. You can't
Okay.
jump the line, right?
Right.
And I know we haven't necessarily went in an order, but when we get done with all these, we'll put them in order for you. But because we were doing what was affecting us at the time, right? You and I, that's how we decided what was going on the show. Now we went back and did it, but start with those 2 habits in that private victory. Okay.
Okay.
There's a reason they are the first, and there's a reason that it's called a private victory because you have to own those things within yourself. And then you can start deciding what's in your circle of, you know, control and influence, right? So that would probably be the biggest thing. The other thing is, look, I don't want you to waste time going down this journey for no reason either, right? The 7 habits. These are great refreshers. I hope people are enjoying this, but I also hope you pick up this book, and I don't make any money. I hope you pick up this book and go through this journey and then rewatch the videos because and this will wrap it up, Jimmy. This is what I was going to say was why are you wanting to pick this book up? What is what's your end, right? If we're going to begin with the end in mind, what's your end with this? Why are you doing it? What's your why, right? Start with why. What is it? Is it because you want to be a better person, a more effective manager? Do you want to do it because you feel like you're, you know, terrible to your kids? You know, whatever it is, right? What's your drive? And then go up a level. And I promise you, you'll find your mission. And that's really what we didn't hit on it, but this whole thing's trying to get you to build a mission, a personal mission. So when we begin with the end in mind, we're building that mission statement. Think of those company mission statements, but for you, right? So Energy WorldNet, Our vision is to make the world a safer place. That's kind of what you got to think like when you're building your own, your own path forward. What's your goal? What are you shooting for? And it looks different for different people. Mine personally, and this has been mine for 3 years now, and they say to go back, continuous improvement, just like we said. But I think I've found where I want to be, and mine is to lead with my heart. And that's at home and that's at work. And I'm not going to turn that switch off. That's what I'm telling you, ever, because that's my north.
That's awesome. I love that. And it's key though. I just have to hit on one thing before we close out. When you're on that journey, if your path doesn't align with what your true north is, it's okay to hit the big red button and say, wait a minute, something's up.
Yeah, the principles still work, Jimmy. That's the good thing. You got to learn these anyway. And they look different in different situations and with different people, and they manifest depending on what Covey talks about, the paradigms, right? The things that are instilled in you and the patterns that have created who you are. And so, yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite chapters, actually. I've taught it multiple times, but it brings a lot of it home for people. It's a very emotional journey, this first private victory for people. And if you don't believe me, it was emotional for me. I mean, even as a teacher, and I'm not even just talking about the current group. This private victory has always been one that makes you step back and go, whoa, what am I going after in my life? Am I chasing a dollar? Because Jimmy, we've hit on it before, but I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
And I laid it all down so I could be here. And why? Because I was leading with my heart. So I don't have to question that ever. I never question that.
I love it. Absolutely love it. James, thank you. I think that you have, as always, instilled that such a unique, there you go, do more hard stuff.
This one's hard, Jimmy. This one's hard. Yeah. I ain't even kidding. But you think it's just reading a book or whatever, but you get in there, personally.
Yeah, I do. Being serious, it is hard. But again, with each little victory comes more victories. And when you can say to yourself, wow, okay, I got that. That makes sense to me. And then you go a little bit further and a little bit further. Next thing you know, you're 80 miles out in the ocean, but you're full steam ahead, as opposed to when you're on shore and looking out 100 yards saying, that looks scary. When you get out there and you have that confidence behind you, then you realize that you got this. You can do it.
Jimmy, you are living proof of it, my friend. This past year, you have lived exactly what you said. You waited out that 100 yards and looked back and just said, screw it, let's go.
Let's go. Hashtag let's go.
And we've done it, and we've done it, man. I mean, we're a living testament to it.
Hey, and I wouldn't want any other partner than you in this, brother. This is fantastic. Absolutely. So, James, thank you. And again, audience members, both listeners and viewers, please, we hope that you gain something out of this. Any questions, get the book, read it, take a look, hit James up.
Out to us. Yeah, I mean, we're here to help you on that journey too. We've gotten so much positive feedback from this, Jimmy.
Yeah.
This is, in fact, I don't even know why we have guests anymore. We should just do 7 habits every week. People always tell us, like, man, I love the 7 habits one.
Yeah, they really do.
We'll have a guest on and we'll go, I don't know if you've ever watched, well, I've watched the 7 habits one.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'll take what we can get. But we've had so much positive feedback, and they're fun. I enjoy it. I hope it's okay. I wear a hoodie on these days. I always feel like these are the loungy, kind of laid back, just conversational, just me and Jim type of episodes, right? It doesn't even feel, it feels like we're cheating, Jimmy.
But this is us, though. That's you. This is me, I mean, this is what we do. This is
Jimmy, that brings up a good point. Not to be somebody to hawk our own wares, though, but I think this is an optimal time to talk about something. And it's not official, and we don't have a packet we can send you yet, but I tell you what, here's our pitch. You ready, Jim? It's like we're on Shark Tank. We did a lot of things in the industry last year. We're very involved as a company, and also Jim and myself with various organizations, associations, and companies. Last year, we were invited on several times, kind of as sounds funny to say, as this character of Coffee with Jim and James. But,
Yeah.
because of the show, and we were able to bring, some joy and some networking and some fellowship to virtual events that we obviously are missing by not being in person. So whether it be a happy hour that we do, like a scavenger hunt, we did a thing with the UPSCO guys that was awesome.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll do it again. We did something with SGA last year where basically the same thing, but this is one platform for us, and that's fantastic. We want to keep this alive as long as you'll let us. But we also are able to bring that same connection, like we said, and that same fellowship beyond just this vehicle, right? We want to use this at shows with you. And when we're back live, we're going to bring this out with us,
We're on the road.
We would love to be on, your agendas, breaking up the monotony, right? And so if you have an interest of getting involved, I know we had some guests on earlier that, we made the connection. They were like, wow, we've been looking for just something different, right? This is it. So if you're looking for something different, we can get on a call. We can break it down. We can show you what we've done in other places. It's really simple. It's nothing to it, but man, people are screaming for ways to connect right now. And I don't just mean social media. I mean, they want live interaction of some sort, engagement, right? So we can offer that. And we're happy to do it. Jim, you hit on it before. We're very focused on taking care of this industry.
Yeah.
And that's one way we feel like we can help out.
Yep, absolutely. So again, if you're thinking about something fun for a virtual conference you have coming up, if you want us to host a virtual scavenger hunt, happy hour, fun time.
Need Jimmy to be your MC?
Oh, I've done it.
He'll do it.
Oh, without a doubt. I'll get a crazy backdrop.
And Jimmy, for that matter, speaking, right? I mean, if you have an agenda and you're looking to fill some spots, we have a talented group of people that can fill that spot for you. And not only just fill the spot, I mean, fill the spot. We have killer speakers that can speak on a ton of different topics. Reach out to me. We'll send you the topic list and you can pick what makes sense for your group.
And it is from A to Z. It's everything from very thought leadership type things to very highly technical stuff and everything in between.
OQ, you want to talk about OQ? We'll send some compliance people over there, talk about the final rule. You want to talk about pipeline safety? We'll hook you up with Steve Allen. Well respected, of course. Yep. I mean, really, compliance, we'll get Claude on you. We'll do anything we can. Jimmy will talk them on leading people not like you. We do really have a wide variety in the catalog, and we're happy to help any way we can.
Absolutely. So take us up on that, please. If we can
hold you to it.
What? Yeah.
Hold them to it.
Come on, hit us up. If we don't get one in the next week, I'll be disappointed. James, would you be disappointed?
I really would.
I see my right. I see where I want to go, where we want to go with this. So
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Thank you, James. And to our audience, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great episode. Can't say enough to James and his continued mentorship and expertise and really leading with his heart. He loves this stuff and you can tell he has a passion. So please hit James up if you have any questions, comments. Let us know if we can help you with your association, with your virtual conference, live conference, whatever it is. We want to be involved. So until next time on Coffee with Jim and James, take care, stay safe, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.